to welcome you to this week's episode of Irish Scott Productions podcast. I am joined by co-owner of Irish Scott Productions, Scott Ralph, as well as we've got a special guest with us today, owner of Midwest Selfies, a photo booth company that provides high-end photo booth services to all types of clients, and that is Angela Wolf. Welcome, Scott and Angela.
Hello.
How's it going, Brandon?
It's going. Hey, so what I want to do is I just kind of want to start off, Angela, give us a little bit of background. How long have you been doing this for? What got you into the business? And give us kind of your business motto, your layout. What separates you from other photo booth vendors. Just give us your history and your sales pitch.
Well, that's a lot. I might be talking for a while. So there is actually a funny story about how Midwest Selfies got started. I started it with my best friend. We're both avid photographers. Sometimes we get paid for our photography, but we never wanted to do anything like weddings or anything like that. A lot of what we did was kind of commissioned commercial photography. Someone would need something, they'd hire us to go do it. And so we really, really enjoyed that. And I heard an advertisement for the type of photo booth that we ended up buying, a selfie station. And I called up my best friend and I said, hey, those awesome lenses that we're always drooling over? I figured out how we can pay them without hurting our home budget. Let's start a photo booth business and we can make all this money and buy these lenses. And she's like, that sounds wonderful. So we started this company, and a new lens has not yet been bought for either of us. All of the money we've made has just kept being reinvested into the company, because once we really got into it, we loved it. We loved what we were doing. We loved the impact that we're having on events. And neither one of us has actually put $1 in our pocket yet, because everything just keeps going right back into making the business better and better and better and better. So that's really an exciting part of it for me. Due to some family obligations on her part, I did end up buying her out. So my husband and I run the business together now, but with the same philosophy, just to kind of just be the best event specialist in the area that we can be, and just knock it out of the park every time. So that's what we try to do.
I wish Brandon and I had that same willpower about buying gear. Seems like we're always talking about buying something new for either his event services on the entertainment side or the video side, new camera, new lens, something like that.
Oh, sure. Well, and so I have bought a new camera for the photo booth, and actually just recently added in an iPad mobile style photo booth. So that money's being spent, but I don't have a new 150 to 600 millimeter sport lens for my personal use.
So, what type of events do you do? Is it just weddings? Do you do corporate events? And what kind of things can your clients expect from you? Like you just said, you had a mobile iPad. How many events can you do at the same time? That's
Sure.
Just kind of clump a bunch of questions in like that.
Yeah. So as far as the type of events that we do, everything from weddings to small fundraisers, especially causes that are close to our hearts, and humongous corporate events, corporate parties, holiday parties, trade shows. That's one of our specialties, actually, is trade show type of things, because we're equipped to capture marketing data and share that with the clients who hire us for that very reason. So then they can use that in their further marketing efforts. So in that regard, we're putting brands in hands and pulling that data back for the company. So it's a two-way street that's beneficial there for both the people on the street and the companies we're working for. So.
Yeah, that sounds great. How far out in advance do you book? Like if I was going to contact you, should I be contacting you now for 2020? Should I be contacting you for 2021? You know what I mean?
It really depends. It's kind of luck of the draw. I have had some people checking their dates for 2021 already. Lots of dates booked in 2020, but still, several that are still open too. So every once in a while we end up with a weekend where we don't have anything booked, and then we have a weekend off, and that's not a horrible thing either. But
I definitely know that feeling. I'm sure Brandon knows that feeling as well. Weekends off are a rare commodity.
Right. And what seems to happen is we always get asked for the same dates. So, sometimes September I could book 4 and 5 times over, whereas maybe March I have 2 jobs that I'm working. So It's really, really hard to say as far as how far out. Popularity of the date obviously weighs in on that. And then to get back to your other question on how many events we can do at a time, because we were seeing the same dates always being requested, now we can do at least 2 events at a time. We've added that second unit and an employee to help us with that. And we're in the process of building a 3rd unit. And when we find the right employee, we'll be able to do a 3rd event at a time.
Awesome. Do you have like a green screen? How many backgrounds do you use? Or is it just mainly green screen, or do you put up like one of those step and repeat ones, like they're on the red carpet, or is that just kind of what the client asks for?
Yes to all of that. Most of my jobs are almost exclusively green screen, which is one of the things that makes me unique in the area, because it's almost, I've done 2 jobs that were not green screen out of hundreds. And part of the reason people go with that is it gives them the ability to have multiple backgrounds during an event, which makes their whole picture library more dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to customize then too. So we do step and repeats with the green screen, or we work with customers to get that printed, or they supply it on their own, whatever they like. So yeah, it's really whatever the client wants. Sometimes there's no background at all, and just the event serves as its own background. But I really enjoy the green screen because it's dynamic, it's customizable, and it's kind of magical.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon has a few photo booths that he does as well, and the green screen always seems to be a hit. Do you find it a little difficult to get it to key out at times, like depending on what the venue's like, what the lighting's like? What do you use for lighting? Do you just have like a big flash, like a studio flash, or do you use LED lights, or how is your equipment set up?
Sure. Well, it's not really all that much more difficult than any photography, because every single time you are in any graphic situation, you're always tweaking your light for whatever's going on around you. So the green screen, same thing. You're just tweaking till you get it right. Some venues are fairly dark, but I do use a studio flash, and that for the most part is able to overcome anything ambient. And here and there, when the dimness of an area is affecting the live view, which doesn't affect the picture, but it certainly impacts people's ability to see what they're doing on the screen, then I'll pull out some other little lights to so that way they can have their fun and see what they're doing, make sure their poses are just how they want them.
Yeah, and in a dark environment too, having some sort of ambient light helps, so people aren't tripping over stuff and running into your green screen. So what part of Wisconsin do you service? Is it all of Wisconsin? Do you try to stick to the Northwoods? I know you're in the Northwoods. Do you hit the central Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin?
Yeah, I do serve the whole state. I was doing a lot of work in the Twin Cities, and that got to be a little bit time intensive. So I really, really refocused to just Wisconsin. I don't do any marketing in Minnesota at all anymore. And most of my marketing dollars have been going to central Wisconsin and mainly towards corporate clients as well. But I get down to Racine. I've gone up to Duluth. I go over to La Crosse, and I used to be from Door County, so getting back there from jobs is fun.
So, Angela, it seems like you're very active in the Facebook groups. You started a page or two on yourself. Obviously, I'm part of some of those. Definitely seems like you've got some marketing aspects to not only your business, but just the event type of business in general. What got you involved in doing that? Do you see a lot of business coming your way through Facebook? Do you get a lot of clients through the Facebook recommendations, things like that? What is your general feel of any sort of social media?
Well, obviously, social media is vital now. With regard to the groups, I think I'm probably in 20 or so different groups. Wow. For various event focuses. But the reason why I started the group that I started, Wisconsin Event Professionals, is because every group that I was in had clients in it. So if I saw another professional that I wanted to talk to or ask a question or anything like that, it was sort of all in public view unless we were going total private message. And I thought, well, there has to be a forum for professionals to talk shop and ask questions and learn about each other that isn't open to our potential customers. And when I found that there wasn't any, I started one. It's important for us to know how we impact each other. And that was probably one of the biggest things, because I ran into a couple things where, a venue just arbitrarily based on their plan for an evening put us outside, which put the client in a really sticky position because their contract with us said if we're outside, they have to pay more because there's other things that we need to do to make sure everything is safe and protected in that type of environment. And the venue didn't have a conversation with anyone. And is that the client's fault? Is that the venue's fault? Whose fault is that? I figured if we could all have a conversation and understand what impacts each other more, that gets us better able to do a great job for our clients, period. So at least now I know. After that, I was a little shocked. So now every time I'm checking with the venue, do you have room for me? Do you know where I'm going to be? Do you know I'm coming?
It's all about communication. Like we've talked about, me and Brandon have talked about, stressed with our clients and venues that we've worked in, and it's all about the communication, talking with other vendors, planners. You can never email too many times. You can never send too many private messages too many times. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've ran into that situation where you show up and they have like a 3-foot section for you, and I have an open air concept and it's 10 feet wide, and they have no idea where to put you. And in my contract it states the dimensions that I need, and when I sit down with them, I talk to my clients about that. But occasionally, they got a lot of things going on. It either skips or they tell the venue that, and the venue just disregards it, or the cases. So, like you said, following up with the venue now is kind of key importance, making sure they know what's going on, so that you're not showing up and having a, rethink what you're going to do.
Right.
So, obviously with any industry, whether it's photography, DJ, video, you're always going to have, different qualities, different standards, photo booths out there that, camera on a stick type things. What would you, if a client calls you and, you give them your price and, they give you the that's a little more than what we wanted to spend speech, because they talk to someone else that will do it for a quarter of what you're charging. What's your selling point? What do you tell your client? Why should someone go with you versus someone who's just going to show up with, the camera on the stick type thing?
Sure. Are you still there?
Yeah, we're still there.
Okay. I actually had to have that exact conversation with a lovely woman who did end up hiring me, and she was a little shocked that I was more than twice what someone else was going to charge her. And I just said, I can't speak to what their setup is because I can't. I have no idea who she was talking about. But I said, I've invested a lot of money in buying the best equipment I could find on the market. You're going to get a great DSL camera. I went through my whole system as far as the professional lighting, lab quality prints, and the fact that everything about my setup is clean and professional. And there's never going to be an instance at any event that we do where any of our employees are seen smoking or even taking a break smoking or even smelling like cigarettes. None of us smoke. No one's drinking on the job. No one's being inappropriate because we're all professionals. Like we are not, for lack of a better term, like weird Uncle Bob, who really couldn't get a job anywhere else, so started a DJ company, like there's not going to be any inappropriate jokes. There's no swear words. Everyone is going to be comfortable with us, and we're going to be able to encourage everyone to have fun without being inappropriate ever. Everything is clean and high end and well done and handled, and we guarantee it. And if someone's not happy, we make it right. Absolutely. And luckily we've never had to make something right because we're doing it right from the get-go. But I
was just going to ask, do you have any examples that are shareable? But that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. You've never had to experience that. That's good.
From all your staff being, and not at all to say that people without a college education are any less, but I think when all of your staff is at an age when they're college educated or have spent significant amount of time in a professional atmosphere, that's what they bring to the table. It's not a 20-year-old DJ smoking a cigarette making an extra $100, and it's a real business for us. It's not just a fluke thing that we can go be party gods or whatever.
Definite life experience. That's what I've seen help a lot when you're looking for an employee. Yes. They understand how to act like an adult. They are an adult. They have bills of their own. And like you said, it's not just side money.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the hardest thing in any form of this industry is because, a lot of your clients don't know. They don't know the difference between the person that's charging X and the person that's charging half that amount. They just, it's a dollar sign to them. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for them to understand and appreciate why they're going to spend a little bit extra for a high quality photo booth or what I call a high-end entertainer, or, even, the cinematography, style videos that we do. It's hard for them to kind of, without them ever doing it or knowing it, they don't understand all that's involved. I've had people that say, well, you just sit behind a computer and press play.
Oh boy.
that's maybe a quarter of it. I mean, there is a lot of time invested in meeting with the clients, sitting down with the clients, going over their whole day. I mean, we're not, and you're probably very similar in the fact that you're not a company that just shows up, sets up, and starts the photo booth. There's a lot of time invested, designing the strips, getting them custom made. They want some backgrounds. Same thing in the entertainment world and same thing in the video world. There's a lot of time invested in making sure that someone's event is memorable. And so it's trying to educate the clients about that And it's also trying to get the people that are just kind of using it as extra beer money to invest in themselves as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And in my experience that I've seen is the easier it looks, the actual harder it is behind the scenes. The easier you can make it look, the more professional that you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the more we can to, start, because I go to seminars, I go to MC workshops, I go to, I do a lot of research and things like that. The more we can get those people that are just kind of doing it for beer money, to really invest and try to get better at their craft, the more the industry is going to succeed and the better everybody's going to be off.
Absolutely. And to get back to some of the differences between the two as well, one of the things I always include in my conversations with clients and anyone is I'm a real business. I have a federal tax ID number. I pay those taxes. I pay insurance. A lot of venues don't let you even operate without insurance. So that makes it, for me as a client, that would make a difference. And I know I'm probably a pretty high expectation client. So I try to provide the level of service I would want if I was a client. So that's pretty high.
For sure. And that's where all of us are trying to be, is being able to provide that high level service, because that's just going to be so much better in the long run, because you're going to get referrals. You're going to get people that talk to people, and, with the video, with the entertainment, you in the photo booth, that's where we continue to grow as companies and continue to be able to build our business. Add more photo booths, add more, DJ setups, add more, teams for video, whatever the case may be. That's how we can start, growing and be able to provide those high level services for multiple events on the same day.
Right.
So, Angela, as we're kind of wrapping up for the podcast, was there anything else that you wanted to plug? You got any events coming up that you wanted to mention? If you're going to any wedding shows? I noticed that you posted about going to the Madison wedding show a couple weeks ago. I
actually went there as an observer, so that was very nice. And it's not all just competitive. I mean, you get ideas and see what other people are doing well, and inspiration, and then you also, I kind of nailed that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be on the side of a show where you can roam around and check things out a little bit. But I will be doing 2 shows in February. They're smaller shows. One is in Madison, one is in Wausau. I'm excited about those because smaller shows give you an opportunity, I feel, to talk with potential clients for a little bit longer and get a feel of them. And, then they're all the more comfortable when they hire you. I'm such a no pressure salesperson when it comes to people booking me. It's like, okay, let me know. and because I don't want anyone to feel, I want people to love the decision that they made when they come to me. So I don't want to pressure them into it at all. So having that chance for them to get comfortable with me and try all my equipment is the perfect environment for me. And then in April, I'll be at the Business to Business Expo at the Central Wisconsin Convention Center, which is the largest business to business expo in the state. And that I'm really excited for.
Well, Angela, we are going to wrap this up. Let's, if clients out there or potential clients want to get a hold of you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, my website is www.midwest-selfies.com. But even easier, if you just Google Midwest Selfies, I am everywhere. So I'm on Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, you name it, I'm on there. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and giving us your insight on the world of photo booths and events. And, yeah, if everybody gets a chance, go out, check their website out. If you have an event coming up, make sure to reach out to them, give them a call, see what they can do to help create that memorable event that you're looking for. So I want to once again thank you for joining us, Scott. As always, pleasure to have you on, and we look forward to the next episode. Hopefully, everybody has a great rest of their day, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks.